So welcome to another week of the Hebrew letters and mysteries of the Hebrew letters. We are on, if my computer allows me to do it, we are on Tet. We've done alef-bet, gimel, dalet, hey, vav, zayin, het, tet, and we shall be doing yod and kaf this semester. I might squeeze in lamed so that I have an extra space at the end to do the vowels, because obviously I'm only doing the consonants, and I suddenly thought maybe I should do the vowels as well. But this semester we will get through at least to kaf, maybe to lamed. Might run an extra session. This week we're doing tet. It's the 9th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. I'm not lying. It's got the sound of t, and it has meanings that mean good or best, usually. And if you've missed any of these sessions, I have recorded them. They're up on YouTube, and the link should be on the chaplaincy website, so you can get it. So we go with tet. The shape of the tet, this is obviously the shape that you would see in a Torah scroll with these crowns on top. There's a whole story about the crowns on top that God puts on, and Moses asks why. And it's for Akiva, who isn't born for another couple thousand years. So it's a whole mystery about that. But here's the tet in its Torah version. This is the simpler version that you'll see in most scripts in biblical Hebrew. On one side, something that looks like a zayin, and on the other side, a letter that's sort of curled in on itself. And that's the tet. 9th letter, oh, I've said that, I've gone backwards, whoops. The sound of the tet, that it's actually called tet, not just t, like in English where letters have don't have names to them as such. The name of the letter tet, I always think of tete-a-tete, that French word, that French phrase, head to head. You go. It's got this very sharp, clean sound, t, 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 t. And obviously when you say it as a letter, it's just a very nice, clean, easy sound that comes up in lots of languages. So quite easy for most people to say. And we've said about letters as sounds in Hebrew, they're engraved. We talk about it in Sefer Yetzirah, that they're engraved in the voice. And tet is in the tongue. So it's quite easy to remember because it's in the tongue. And all the letters we say are engraved in one of 5 places in this body that makes sound, because sound and letters and their shapes and their numbers that we're talking about in a minute, and all these things create the universe. It's with in Sefer Yetzirah, it's the words, it's the letters that carve the channels into the universe and to make things. Tet, there's lots of words with that have tet in them, like tov. You'll hear people say mazel tov, good luck. Mazel being a luck, tov being good. Jew, Tel Aviv, the town Tel Aviv is the dew of the spring. Aviv is springtime, so Tel Aviv. A prayer shawl that we wear, a talit that we wear when we're saying prayers, in particularly in our morning prayers. I've got one I made earlier, this talit with the knotted corners, that one, where all the knots, if you add them all up from the all these strings, make 613 knots, because there are 613 commandments in the Torah. So it's to remind us of that. There's nothing accidental. So talit. And again, as we've discussed about Sefer Yetzirah, sometimes one thing's opposite the other. Good opposite bad, up opposite down, north opposite south. And so we have these 2 words that come up a lot in the Bible, the Hebrew, the Tanakh, but particularly in the Torah, another sounding word, defilement, tuma. When you defile, you make something impure. It's a very difficult concept in English because it sounds like something about mud and dirt and stuff. There's that wonderful anthropologist, Mary Douglas, who my favorite saying of hers is, dirt is matter, material stuff, in the wrong place. So when it's dirt, earth in the ground, it's perfectly fine. But when it's on your shoes or on your clothing, you're not so happy about it. So there's defilement is about separating things, really, keeping things separate rather than things being inherently terrible. So tuma is defilement and tahara is purity. You re-purify yourself. You go wash, you go do things to purify yourself from the defilement. Even good versus evil is a difficult concept because, you know, there's a whole thing about why does God allow evil. I'm not going to go into that now, but there is a festival called Purim where you are commanded or told to get drunk, so drunk you can't tell the difference between Mordecai and Haman. Mordecai is thought to be the good guy and Haman is meant to be the bad guy, and you're meant to get so tipsy you can't tell the difference, which is a very interesting and very deep concept. This is a very, very sophisticated religion. It's got a lot to it. So Tuma and Tahora, the Tet words. Sorry. Gematria, the numbers of Tet. What does it mean, the number of it? The number 9, because Tet is not the 9th letter, represents HaKodesh Baruch Hu, his holiest place. It's a divine number. It's quite an extraordinary number, 9. If you know the 9 times table, you know that on one side it goes up, it goes 9, rather down, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the other side it goes up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you go 9, 18 is 1 and 8, and 27 is 2 and 7. So one side going down, one side going up. It's an extraordinary one. In maths, a number can only be divided by 9 if its digits add up to 9 or multiple of 9. So, for example, the number 459, its digits are 4 plus 5 plus 9, which equals 18, which is a multiple of 9, 2 9s. So we know that 459 is divisible by 9. So it's a kind of easy way of countdown probably works on principles like this. Whoever's doing the numbers knows that. It shows in mystical terms that 9 fits perfectly into the world around it. It's a description of Hashem, this very holy HaKodesh, the most holy blessing that you have on him. The other thing that makes 9 I should do it as a slideshow to get that to do it. The other thing that makes 9 a true number is that if you multiply any number by 9, the digits also add up to 9. So 9 times 2 is 18, and 18, the digits 1 and 8 is 9. 9 times 3, 27, 9 times. The digits always add up to 9 of the product of the multiplication by 9. If you remember those words from school. 9 also represents the number of truth, emet. Emet's a particular word because it's got the first letter in the Hebrew alef-bet, and the last letter that is tav. It's also a t sound, like tet, but it's tav. So you go from aleph to tet, and the middle letter is mem, that mother letter. Both of these are mother letters in the Sefer Yetzirah, which we'll get into it in a minute, bits more as we go along. If you add up the gematria of truth, emet, it comes to 441. Aleph is 1, mem is 40. I'll show next week how that starts to happen. And tav represents 400. So 4 plus 4 plus 1 equals 9. So it's a number of truth. Emet is also the number that is involved with the Golam. If you have ever heard the tales of the Golam, it's a Hasidic tale, but it might come earlier, where they make something, a human out of clay. Remember, we're all made from Adam. Adam means earth. So we're all from the earth, and we're going back there. So they use clay to make this Golam figure, and they engrave on his forehead Emmet, and he comes to life, and he goes and avenges the Jews in the country where they are, the Pale of Settlement, somewhere in Poland or Carpathian Mountains or somewhere, against all the pogroms. And he goes and does this. He's a strange, huge character, but he can get out of hand, this Emmet, with this number of truth about him. And to stop him, they remove the aleph. They can wipe out the aleph, and it becomes met, which is the word for death. And he goes back to being earth again. So there's this play on Emet and Met. Aleph Mem Tav, beginning to end, because this is the Hebrew letters of the alphabet, this Golam. And if you remove the aleph, you get Met, death. And Met adds up to 8, the letter we did last time, Chet, the symbolic letter or number of an entity. It's above a natural order. It's higher than nature. We talked about it last time. It's also symbolic of life, but here it's going to be death. And that's quite an interesting play on life and death, beginning and end, up and down, one opposite the other. You go from truth to death. And I think this is kind of an interesting play. There's nothing, as I said, accidental about it. In the Sefer Yetzirah, which we've discussed, it's the 5th elemental letter. I showed you that diagram, and I'll do that again next time. And it's linked up to those expressions in the very first passages of Genesis, when God is making the world and the universe, and is saying, speaking it into existence with words and letters. And elementals are about things that are called, the names of stuff. And God called the dry land earth. And so it's a nice one where, again, the Golan's been made out of earth, as are we. And here's the dry land, it's elemental 5, and Tet is its letter. When we talk about it as a spatial thing in this cosmic temple that is the universe, it's the north lower border. This is kind of arbitrary because the things swing around. If we talk about it as in space, because it's Sefer Yetzirah talks about space, time, and the story. The body is the story. In space, it's Leo, the constellations that make up Leo. In time, it's the month of Av, which has quite a few sadish festivals in it. And in the body, it's the area is the ghoul. They think there's a few different translations of what it is. The function, though, the thing that it does is taste. We've had smell and sight and different functions. This particular one has taste to it. And so it carves into the universe. This dry land, it's part of carving into the dry land and creating this space and this time of Av. An interesting time that we're in Kislev at the moment. I will be talking about that tomorrow morning a little bit in the meditation. So that's Tet for you. It has this not so fabulous stuff going on, but it's also got this gematria of 9, which is this very, very interesting number that holds strange events, Emet, together, and then can unravel into this back into Chet, into 8 and Het. So an interesting play on numbers and words and purity and impurity, or how you can do one opposite the other. Different concepts of it, I suppose, being pure and being impure. And to finish, we will do a nice meditation on Tet, as is my thing, to do some meditation. And again, as usual, make yourselves comfortable and sit in your space, claim your space, and claim the body of yours that is sitting in that space. Make sure you feel yourself into your body, into your feet and legs, and your arms and hands and shoulders and back and buttocks and stomach and face and head. Make sure that you feel yourself taking up all that space that is yours. It's definitely your nefesh in Hebrew. It's your body soul. And in the Sefer Yetzirah, you're sitting in a space in a particular time, but you're in your body soul when you're doing it. So claim your body soul. And take a few just deep breaths, just because it calms you down and brings you, the breath is this very important function, but you're breathed into life. And you breathe back into the universe. That breath of life, the first thing we ask when a baby's born, are they breathing? And one of the signs we know that it's come to the end. There is no breathing. This incredible sign of life. Now I think we should move into thinking about that tet, that strange shape, that upright shape on one side and that curled shape on the other, that are joined together. Something so upright and something so curled over. Something that represents the number 9. This strange shape that represents the number 9 and also represents Emet, and the letters of Emet are added together. It becomes 9. This idea of truth. And what is truth? This strange number that can be revealed in certain numbers and other number combinations. What do we mean by truth? Is your truth the truth? Is what you hold dear the truth? Are you even brave enough to search for the truth? It's very, very hard to do that. To give up the things that make you comfortable and search for the truth. Unravel numbers to find the truth. Can we meet that truth in our lifetimes? If Emet is truth and Met is death, can we somehow find a truth in our lifetimes? Something that really rings true for us, sparkles for us, gives us light, makes our soul shine, makes your nefesh whole. Can we meet that truth? Do we dare to meet that truth? Do we recognize it when we see it? Can we put all the other things aside? What we call the kelipa, the fragments, the layers of stuff. Can we shed them and see the truth? Emet. Have you found your truth, your God? If God is the truth, then you have to find your truth. And is it the truth? And how are you going about finding your truth? How are you opening yourself up to those truths? Dropping all the layers, getting to that shiny, bright, pure soul, spirit, spark inside you, the one that's never been touched by impurity. I thought that we always have a pure and wonderful spirit or soul. We just layer on lots of rubbish on top of it. Almost like the child in you doesn't have the layers. Look at that truth inside you. Or Emmet. And have a few more deep breaths in and out so we can come back into the room and go about our day, finding our particular truth.